In the New Testament, according to Dr. John Boswell and other scripture scholars, St. Paul is not only dealing with the issue of what is natural. For instance, St. Paul said it is not natural for a man to have long hair. It's unnatural. St. Paul had real preconceived notions about what was natural and unnatural. Many, many scripture scholars are suggesting that St. Paul had no concept of homosexuality as a natural drive, and that again he was talking about people engaging in temple prostitution, which was engaged in by Romans who were worshiping many gods, and he was also opposed to, according to literal translations, people who were effeminate and people who were abusive corrupters of boys or pederasts. The two words that St. Paul uses are malakos and arsenokotai, which when literally translated mean the effeminate and abusive corrupters of boys. It's interesting when you're reading the Bible and someone will stand up to me and during the question and answer period and say, Brian, what do you happen to think of Romans 1:26? I'll say, which Bible are you quoting to me from? When you talk to me in quoting Corinthians about who's not going to enter the kingdom of heaven, are you quoting to me from the New American Bible, the King James Version? I often find it humorous when they quote to me from the King James Version, who according to his biographers was a homosexual. Are you quoting to me from the Latin Bible, the Italian Bible, the Spanish Bible, the French Bible, the English Bible? Because in each one of those Bibles, the words that appear in the chapter of Corinthians that talk about who's not going to inherit the kingdom vary. In one passage, they'll talk about the effeminate not entering the kingdom of heaven. In another, it'll talk about sodomites. What is a sodomite? In this country, a sodomite is any person who engages in sexual activity other than the missionary position who are heterosexually married. So, cunnilingus and fellatio, or oral sex, is prohibited according to literalists in the chapter of Corinthians. One has to take a critical approach to the Bible. So when I today take a look at the Bible, Old and New Testament, I see the Bible as an attempt on the part of people who believe to set down on paper their experience of God, and that God is interwoven in terms of God's intention for humankind. There's a calling from God to grow to our full potential, so God's an essential part of the Bible, but that God did not move every single pen that wrote the Bible, that the Bible is continuing to be written by you and by me, and that my experience as a healthy, happy, committed gay person is part of that Bible too. It's part of God's revelation. For many, many, many years, the only understanding we had of God when we're told that that man is made in God's image and likeness, the only concept we've had of God is of a white father, because white fathers have been writing the Bible. Women have said to us, wait a second, if we're made in God's image and likeness, then God must also be reflected in us, and we must also reflect God. Therefore, we have some things to say to you about how we experience God. What's the feminine side of the gospel? What's the feminine side of God? Black people are saying the same thing. You have had white churches telling black people what their experiences mean, and black people have been saying, we're going to tell you from our experience how we understand God, how we feel God on a day-to-day basis. Gay people need to start saying the same thing. Instead of asking for the church's approval of who they are as human beings, gay people are called by God to stand tall and say, this is my experience. I'm a healthy, happy product of the environment. I'm called by evolution to grow to my full potential, and God is with me. And my love, which is a love that has endured many years with the same man, is a very special love. And my faith, which is a faith which endures despite the fact that the church slams its door in my faith is a very special faith. And that's a special message that I have. I use when I talk to gay people, particularly, the imagery of the Exodus. When Moses was told by God, I want you to lead my people out of Egypt. Egypt represented captivity. Egypt represented the closet. And Moses said to God, to this burning bush, who should I tell the Jews is asking them to leave everything behind? I mean, who are you? And God said, you tell them, I am who am. I am who am. And that's my basic message to gay people. You are who are. You are yourself. That's all that you are. And that has got to be enough to lead you out of Egypt, to lead you out of the closet. You know, Egypt or the closet are like barbed wire on a person. And that's what the Bible can be to somebody too when quoted by somebody who does not love in their heart. It can be barbed wire that they string around you and try to confine you. You know, Jesus said, "Judge not lest you be judged." Fundamentalists often never quote that as they're throwing barbs at you. They never quote Jesus saying, "Judge not lest you be judged." I was on a talk show in Dade County, Florida, shortly after our defeat to Anita Bryant, and I was talking to an alleged former homosexual and the hostess about the experience of my going to heaven. I talked about the myths and replaced, I hope, those myths with facts for you. I've talked about the experience of growing up gay alone, of growing up with a special secret that you were afraid to share with anyone. I've talked about religion and how gay people needn't be condemned by the Bible, that the Bible can be as much a source of inspiration as it can be condemnation. The one thing that we haven't talked about is the experience of being gay today. What's available for a gay person? What's it like to come out of the closet now? I came out in 1974, and it was the most important thing that I ever did in my life. It changed my life. And I do believe that coming out is essential to a gay person if a gay person is going to grow to his or her full potential. In 1976, I entered a relationship, which is the most wonderful thing that ever happened in my life, and have been in that relationship with that wonderful person since, and hope to be for the rest of my life. It's a lot easier to come out today and to have a relationship than it was several years ago, than it was for the people who preceded me. It's easier to come out because there are more intelligent heterosexuals out there who aren't as quick on the draw when a gay person comes out. There's more information. You don't have to ask the librarian to unlock that horrible cage where they locked up the books on homosexuality. There are hundreds and hundreds of books available. It's easier to come out because you have guidance counselors who are better educated and sexuality teachers in the high schools and colleges. It's easier to come out because you have support groups on campuses of gay people who are hoping that gay people will come to them for answers and for socialization. Dances that are held and speakers come in to talk about homosexuality. It's easier to come out today because there are organizations in every major religious denomination that support gay people, caucuses for gay men and lesbians who want to worship with people of the same gender, of the same sexual orientation. There are organizations for gay doctors and gay lawyers. Parents are better educated. There are gay role models on television now, some better than others. Gay TV shows, gay movies, gay records. So the world, and according to Gallup, it's a far more open world. According to Gallup, over 50% of American people support civil rights for homosexuals. So while it's still tough in many ways to make that step forward, it's a lot easier. The reason it's important is that being gay is not a handicap, nor is it an advantage, but it is an essential aspect of who you are if you're gay. It's an aspect that you have to address if you're going to be completely happy, if you're going to be fully integrated. But the basic message behind all of this is that you like yourself, that you love yourself, despite your hair color, your skin color, despite your weight, despite your national origin, despite your gender, despite your sexual orientation, or because of all of those things, that you love yourself. Loving yourself is so important to growing to your full potential. I wrote something about that not long ago that I'd like to share with you. It's from a chapter in my book called I Like It. I get a kick out of knowing that anti-gay people are probably wearing clothes designed by a gay person, living in a home decorated by a gay person, attending a play performed by a gay person, and participating in a Sunday service celebrated by a gay person. I laugh when I think of anti-gay men cheering gays on the football field and learning about other scores from a gay sportscaster. I especially love the thought of anti-gay Catholics praying to gay saints. I like being gay for all of these and many more reasons. Primarily, though, I like being gay because it is an essential aspect of who I am, and I like myself. Thank you.